Like Mac from Always Sunny. Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gent Sense. Hope that you're doing well. All Haramain has launched 4 new flankers in their very popular L'Aventure line, and today we're gonna be taking a look at 2 of them. The ones that are on the docket today, these little beauties, Fraiche and Ciel. And when you hear that name, you may think Kiss from a Rose, or maybe an animal balancing a ball on its nose, but no, it just means sky blue. Don't get it confused. Although Kiss from a Rose, one of the best pop songs ever. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the L'Aventure line for some reason, let's do a quick crash course, like a really quick crash course. The original L'Aventure is a clone of Creed's Aventus, and for a time there, it was basically going to war with Club de Nuit Intense Man. You had Haramain with CDNIM, and then you had Haramain with L'Aventure, and those two were like the 2 big ones of the time. There's also Insurrection 2 Pure, but that one was always viewed as kind of like the cheaper, more bang for your buck option. And I know that, you know, L'Aventure and Club de Nuit Intense Man are not expensive, but Insurrection 2 Pure is still cheaper yet. So yeah, you had L'Aventure, which was Creed Aventus. Then over time, you had different flankers that came out, like L'Aventure Intense, which was also Creed Aventus. But then you had totally different things, like L'Aventure Femme, which was Creed Aventus. But for her this time, Creed Aventus for her. And by and large, up to this point, most, not all, but most L'Aventure releases have been clones of Creed fragrances. So there's the ones we just talked about, then there was L'Aventure Blanche, which was Silver Mountain Water, and then L'Aventure Night, which was Green Irish Tweed. So yeah, there's been a lot of Creed in the L'Aventure line. But today, we are talking these 2 little beauts right here. We're gonna go over the presentation of them, and I'll let you know how they smell and what they smell similar to. I'll have these linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. I bought mine from jomashop.com. I was actually just looking through their new arrivals because they finally added where you can sort by new arrivals. And that's been years coming because I actually prefer to shop by new arrivals at discount. Basically because if they come out with something new or they drop something new, you want to see it first, and when you sort by new arrivals, you'll see it right there. That way you don't miss out. You know, it's not something that's buried underneath like 30 or 40 pages of other stuff. It's just right there. So I got this one, Fraiche, this one, Ciel. I also got Grapefruit and Iris. So maybe we'll talk about those in a future video. For now, let's get started by checking out the presentations. We'll start with Fraiche. So you have on the front here, the name of the house, the name of the fragrance, you have the name of the house up top, and then on the bottom, you have your batch code, your ingredient information, everything like that. Opens up like so, and then your bottle will be sitting down inside here. And it also comes with one of those little silica gel packets. So that's kind of funny. You gotta throw one of those in there, I guess. But yeah, overall, it looks pretty nice. One thing I will say, it feels a little flimsy. So it has a little bit of a rubberized feel on the outside of the box. It's a plastic box, but a little rubberized. It does feel very, very lightweight. Like this weighs almost nothing. It has a little bit of an almost magnetic feel when the box closes, as you can see right there. It looks like there's a couple little magnets right here on the corners, but yeah, it just feels a little flimsy, little cheap. And here is the bottle. You have there on the front, name of the house, name of the fragrance. Once again, this is an absolute fingerprint magnet. Once it's all cleaned up and everything, it looks really nice, very reflective. That green coloration is good, but yeah, it's gonna get just fingerprints all over this bad boy. It's done in the typical L'Aventure style. You have that rubbery kind of ring that goes around the top of the cap there. It clicks into place, as you can see right there. And let's go ahead and do a couple sprays. Here we go. Great atomizer. Really, really nice. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the other one, at Ciel. It's basically the same presentation, only a different color scheme, and also the covering on the outside of the bottle, a little different. So here we have the front of the box. Again, name of the house, name of the fragrance right there on the front. Everything else in the same spots as the other. And it has the same kind of vibe. A little bit of a magnetic action right here, and very lightweight. And this one actually not quite as flimsy feeling as the other. So I think it's gonna be just dependent on luck of the draw. And here we have the bottle. So this one is not reflective. which means even though it picks up fingerprints, they don't show as much as on Fraiche. And I think to my own personal taste, I prefer the look of this one a little more because you don't feel like you have to wipe it off after you use it every single time. The other one you do. I mean, it looks good, but you gotta keep it really clean. Let's go ahead and do a couple sprays here. Again, fantastic atomizer. Again, I bought mine from jomashop.com, first place that I saw them, and they are shipping to Canada now. And I believe that they're gonna be trying to ship to more places as time goes on, either this year or like early next or something like that. I just know they've expanded to ship to Canada and they're trying to expand to Europe as well. All right, how are these? How do they smell? Do they smell like something else out there that you might recognize? Well, let's start with Fraiche over here because this is probably gonna be the one that more people are interested in just based off the name, the color scheme, and also if you look online, Jomashop has this one as a man's fragrance and then the other three as women's fragrances. So technically on Jomashop, they have this as a lady scent. That being said, I think both are unisex, and at the end of the day, I mean, wear what you want. Who really cares? But yeah. So Fraiche, how does it smell? Does it remind me of anything? Well, it's very fresh, as you would expect by the name here. Really sparkly off the top, nice, fruity, zesty citrus when you first spray this one on. It's clean, a little bit sweet, and it definitely reminds me of a fragrance out there, a Creed fragrance once again. This one, Silver Mountain Water. Yeah, I know, Silver Mountain Water. They already have a Silver Mountain Water clone, L'Aventure Blanche, so why? But this is not the same as L'Aventure Blanche, so I guess there is a reason which we'll delve into here. One of the things that a lot of people pick up from Silver Mountain Water is an inky sort of vibe, an inkiness that the scent has. A little inky, perhaps a little metallic. It has tea as one of the main notes in here. And when you compare this side by side with Fraiche, you can definitely tell that L'Aventure Fraiche is inspired by Silver Mountain Water. But you could think of this as kind of what the name entails, a fresher version of Silver Mountain Water. So this is a little bit sweeter on the fruity side of things as compared to Silver Mountain Water. It doesn't really have that inky vibe as much as you're gonna pick up in Silver Mountain Water. So it's essentially a freshened up, easier wearing, more spring, summertime centric take on Silver Mountain Water's DNA. So to an extent, you could view that as being a bit disappointing because again, they have L'Aventure Blanche already. They already have a Silver Mountain Water clone that's already in this line. So it's like, why go back to the well? But they've done it with a twist. They've switched things up, they've changed things up a bit. And as I said, they've made this more a zingy, fresh, bright, uplifting, citrus forward, slightly sweeter take on Silver Mountain Water. It still has that tea feeling that you get from here. It's just not as kind of heavy as it can come across in the Creed. And I gotta say, this is actually super, super pleasant. For a lot of people, I think this would be preferential over Silver Mountain Water, especially when we're talking about it getting hot outside, because for me, Silver Mountain Water I can't wear during the summer. I don't know if it's just a me thing, but it comes across really strongly off my skin to the point that it could like choke people out, choke me out. And so this has always been for me more like a spring, early spring and fall time fragrance. And I would actually choose to wear this in winter over summer. Just again, to my own personal taste and how strong it comes across. With Fraiche, you have something that you can wear in spring and summer, and it's gonna work a lot better while still reminding you of Silver Mountain Water. So that's ultimately what this is. Kind of interesting that it comes in a green package, though I guess you could say that that makes sense because there's a little bit of a green aspect to Silver Mountain Water. And if you do up a fresher version of that, maybe, you know, play up the green side of things, that makes sense. But yeah, that is what this is. And now we move to Ciel. This one also reminds me of a Creed fragrance, and not what I was expecting, actually. It reminds me of this, Millésime Imperial, which I guess when you think about it, makes sense, because Millésime Imperial is one of the better selling Creed fragrances for men. And so if you're gonna clone a fragrance from Creed, you probably wanna do some of the more well-known ones. And if you already have cloned Silver Mountain Water a couple times, and Aventus a couple times, and Green Irish Tweed, well, yeah, Millesime Imperial makes sense. And this is one that I had no hesitation on. As soon as I sprayed L'Aventure Ciel on my skin, I was like, that is Millesime Imperial. Because Imperial has a very specific opening. And if you've smelled this fragrance, you know what I'm talking about. It has this sea salty, fruity watermelon kind of vibe when you first spray it on. And it has this very appealing like fuzziness that comes from the ambergris that's in there. It's like this interesting mix of very fresh and also a little bit sweet and then salty, and at the same time, a bit warm as well. And typically in a fragrance, when there's a warmth in there, it's gonna be, you know, amber or cinnamon if it's a spice, vanilla potentially, something in there that gives it like a sort of heavy sweetness. A lot of times when you say warmth, that's what you're talking about. But in this one, it's like a fresh warmth meets aquatic salty fruit. It's really well done, and like I said, it's something that you can immediately tell. So whether it's Millesime Imperial or a fragrance that's done in a style similar to it, when you smell that in the top, in the opening, you know right away what it is. And that's what happens here. But is it the exact same? No, it isn't. And to an extent, you got kind of a similar thing happening here as here. So what I mean by that is when you spray these on side by side, Millesime Imperial definitely comes across as the richer of the two fragrances, and it is a little bit heavier as well. Now it's still a fresh fragrance, it is, but this one over here, L'Aventure Ciel, is a little bit sweeter on the high end. So that fruity pop that you get more of the sweetness from there. Whereas with Millesime Imperial, you could say maybe it's balanced out a bit more, where you get some of the fruity sweetness, but you also have underlying sweetness from that deepness that it has, and those kind of meld together as soon as you spray the fragrance on, whereas this one is more like the fruits is what you get, and that's kind of the focal point, but it still has that overarching, salty, somewhat aquatic vibe that Millesime has. So once again, what we have here is a Creed fragrance with a twist. And this one also, I think, smells fantastic. Really appealing, both of these actually. When you spray them on, off the top, they smell good right away. Both of them, you can tell, are inspired by Creed fragrances very clearly, but at the same time, they don't lean into the heavier aspects of either of these Creed fragrances. Not that either of these would obviously be considered like a cool weather fragrance or anything like that by most people, but they do have that depth, which again could be construed as being a little heavier, that is typical of Creed fragrances, with that ambergris sort of base that a lot of different Creeds have. And when I say that, that's more so talking about this one over here. This one is more that inky tea with musk and a little bit of woodiness as it dries down, but still, you get what I'm saying. Ultimately though, if you were wondering what these are, that's what they are. This is Silver Mountain Water, made more for summertime use. This is Millesime Imperial, also made more for summertime use. Of the two, I think Millesime Imperial is the better warm weather fragrance, just for my own taste, but these are fruity, sweet, zingy, fresh takes on these scent profiles. So obviously, as I've said already, in terms of when you would use these, spring, summer, daytime, that's when both of these are gonna lean toward being best use. In terms of quality, really nice. Like I said, both smell very well done. They're blended well. Nothing here sticks out like a sore thumb. There's no chemical kind of feel to it. And they don't even come across overly synthetic or anything like that either. I bring that up because sometimes with clone fragrances, of course, people will be like, oh, so synthetic, so synthetic, so synthetic. They're well done. And finally, in terms of performance, these are very good for summertime type scents. Solid projection, really good longevity. And part of the reason for that, not the whole reason, but part of it is gonna be because of those atomizers. You can control how much you're spraying very easily. Each spray sprays out a lot of fragrance, which I can see in the air right here. So it really helps you get a good amount of fragrance on with just a few sprays. So there we go, 2 of the new L'Aventures. Yes, you could say a little disappointing that it's you know, cloning stuff that has been cloned numerous times. But I can't hate on them because they're really well done, and they're done with more of a summertime twist. So I can appreciate that. At least it's not, you know, just a rehash of the exact same thing they've already done with L'Aventure Blanche, for example, with this one. So there we go, guys. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.